Strategic Planning. This is a short and new course titled Strategic Planning, taken from the book Training Courses by Muteb Alqarni. In this course, we will learn the tools of strategic planning and its famous analyses such as SWOT analysis, PESTLE, VRIO, SOSTAC, and the 5 forces, etc. We will also learn how to write a strategic plan for our companies, institutions, and even for ourselves. Although strategic planning is primarily concerned with companies, it is possible to extend it to individuals. There is something called personal strategic planning. Therefore, we will discuss organizational strategic planning here and link its tools to personal strategic planning to maximize benefits. Let's proceed with the course. When we say strategic planning, we are talking about two separate words: planning and strategic. Planning is drawing the plan, while strategic is the process of strategizing, which means drawing the maneuver. Thus, you always hear about strategy being related to maneuvers of war. In light of this, we can define strategic planning as developing a plan and maneuver to face potential threats in the future. Life is a battle and competition, where companies compete among themselves, enter wars and conflicts for gains and profits, and you also compete with others, entering wars and conflicts for jobs and promotions. When we say that strategic planning is drawing a plan and maneuver for the difficult circumstances that a company or individual may face in the future, it means that strategic planning is concerned with positioning, centralizing, and moving during a battle. Where are you positioned now, and how will you move in case of a crisis? Are you prepared, for example, for any sudden changes in your career? This is exactly what strategic planning is about. With the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic, the crisis deepened, leading to the closure of many companies. Only those companies lacking a strategic plan to maneuver through these crises closed down. Many employees were laid off because the majority of them did not draw up strategic plans and job alternatives in preparation for such turmoil. In summary, we can conclude that planning is the creation of a goal-oriented plan, while strategizing is the development of a maneuver with movements. In light of this definition, experts say that planning is finding the dots, while strategizing is connecting the dots. In other words, planning is theoretical, while strategizing is practical. Planning shows you the path, while strategizing shows you the entrances and exits of the path. Planning informs you about acquiring resources, while strategizing informs you about how to save resources before crises and invest them wisely during crises. In military terms, how do you distribute your troops, equipment, strength, and resources during the outbreak of war? So let us define strategic planning in general as planning to transition from one position to another within 5 to 15 years, taking into account challenges and difficulties while drawing the plan, and considering how to invest resources and savings during crises. That's it in a nutshell. Therefore, to draw up a strategic plan, you need to know 3 things. 1. Your current position or your company's position, compared to competitors. Where are you on the chessboard? 2. The new position you want to move to. Which square do you want to move to on the chessboard? 3. Your strengths and weaknesses or your company's resources, and how to invest them. Are you a soldier, a knight, or a minister on the board? And how do you invest your strength and improve your weaknesses? So, imagine yourself or your company on a chessboard in a war and battle, aiming to achieve an advanced position. The first question: where is your position, or where is your company's position now? The easiest way to discover your position is to compare yourself or your company with your competitors or your company's competitors. Where are they now, and where is your position compared to theirs? Ask yourself, can you reach where your peers have reached? Choose someone you want to reach his advanced positions. The best way to plan is to set a role model, a person or a company, to emulate and try to become like them or reach their level. Ask yourself, which of your competitors do you want to imitate? Someone might say, I don't want to be like so-and-so or like such-and-such company. I want to surpass them and become better than them. Take this rule. You cannot surpass until you align. In other words, you cannot surpass a person or a company in your field until you have reached their initial level. When you reach it, you can then surpass and compete with them. This is the progression in strategizing. Just by thinking and saying, I want my company to be at the level of the advanced such and such company, or I want to become like my role model and example so-and-so who is in the advanced rank. You are simplifying the tasks in planning and indirectly acknowledging the need for a 5 or 10-year plan, as you cannot become an advanced person or company overnight. And since you are satisfied with a plan that lasts for 5 or 10 years or even 20 years to reach a major company or a prominent personality, this implies that you are satisfied with choosing a suitable company and personality for each 5-year stage. First, aspire to be like the best companies, then like the distinguished ones, then like the global ones, and so on, progressing in role models until you reach your goal. You have fulfilled 2 of the conditions of strategic planning, namely, knowing 1. Your current position, and 2. The new desired position. The third condition remains, which is knowing your strengths and weaknesses and your company's resources. Let's start with the strengths. List 10 strengths of your company or your personality, like confidence, commitment, money, relationships. Then choose the 3 most important strengths from them. Knowing your strengths means knowing your equipment and resources that you will fight with until reaching the advanced position on the chessboard. The question remains, how can you invest these resources and strengths to reach your goal? You may say, one of my strengths is, I have a lot of money. So this is a big asset that you can invest to become the role model you desire. You may say, one of my strengths is, I have relationships. And this raises the question, how can you invest these relationships to become like your role model? Each independent country has a strategic plan through which it works to invest its resources and inputs in enhancing its infrastructure, strengthening its army, and improving its position among other nations. So ask yourself, what are your resources and strengths to invest in reaching your goal? Knowing your strengths alone is not enough to progress until you also recognize your weaknesses. This is the case with armies when wars break out. Remember that in every army, there are weak wings, solid brigades, and others deficient. Whoever exploits the enemy's weakest wing prevails. The key question, what are your weaknesses? Or what are your company's weaknesses? And how do you improve them? Write down 10 of your weaknesses, for example, low self-confidence, lack of relationships, introversion, heavy family responsibilities. Identify 3 of your major weaknesses that you feel are preventing you from reaching your position. Then ask, how can you improve these weaknesses and strengthen these wings? Can you use your greatest strength, like a lot of money, to improve your greatest weakness, like low self-confidence? Improving weaknesses is one of the most important stages of strategic planning. Every military strategy requires exploring the weaknesses of the army to fix them before facing the enemy. Improve your weaknesses. So if you have a large family, for example, go and attend a YouTube course on managing large families. And if you have a weakness in relationships, attend a course on building relationships. If you can't improve, try transforming. Can you turn your weaknesses into strengths? Can you make your large family a strength, like enlisting family members to handle routine errands so you can focus on your goal? Can you view your introversion as a strength because it drives you to focus on your goal at home and not get involved in community gatherings? After we have identified your position on the chessboard, by comparing yourself and your company to competitors around you, and we have identified the square you want to move towards by setting your own models for 5 or 10 years. After identifying your equipment and armies, your strengths to reinforce them, and your weaknesses to improve them, or at least to manage and transform them into strengths, we now begin the task of moving. Moving is the fundamental step in the process of strategizing, meaning moving from your current position towards your desired position. But the question, how do you move? Moving means identifying the short steps you will take to get closer to your target position. Every goal has intermediate goals, and every move has short steps. So what are your short steps? Let's say you want to become an engineer and your goal is to become like your role model, for example, your friend, that engineer at Aramco company. The detailed short steps you need to take before reaching this goal are: 1. Getting a university degree. So, identify the university from which you will get your degree as the first short goal. The second plan is to build relationships with the engineers in the company where your friend works. This is a second short step. Also, among the short plans is to join courses that increase your experience and skills in communication and persuasion, and others required to improve your weaknesses. This is a third short step. Write down 3 to 5 short steps that bring you closer to your new position. Someone may say, "What if I set my short plans, and then someone comes and snatches the job from me through connections and relationships?" This is possible, and indeed, whoever does that executes a strategic military plan for themselves to snatch jobs through connections. They look at life as a war and battle, and war is deception, as they say, so they use their relationships to achieve their goals. Large companies do the same. There are large companies that are forced to hire dummy members from citizens to deceive governments that demand citizenship in employment. They deceive, maneuver, and move in every direction to avoid fines and taxes. In short, the strategic plan is to reach your position on the battlefield with available resources and in any possible way. After you have identified your short steps and moved towards your new position by implementing those steps, crises that hinder you from reaching your position are expected to arise. The best way to deal with them is to 1. Avoid their risks, and 2. Seize their opportunities. You may say, for example, "I will look for a connection to reach my position," but be aware that connections are a risk that should be avoided. So ask yourself, what is the risk of being employed based on a connection? And how do you maneuver that risk if your situation is exposed? You may also say, "I want to earn a university degree, but universities don't accept me based on my credentials." It's a crisis that must be overcome, so ask yourself, is there an opportunity to join a better alternative university? Seize the alternative opportunity. Seizing opportunities and avoiding risks are steps in strategizing. So, we said that one of the methods of strategic planning is to know the strengths and weaknesses, as well as to know the risks and avoid them, and to know the opportunities and seize them. Everything we said just now is called SWOT analysis, which is one of the most important analyses required to write an effective strategic plan. The word SWOT is an abbreviation for 4 steps: knowing 1, strengths, and 2, weaknesses, seizing 3, opportunities, and avoiding 4, threats. Stores that closed with the outbreak of the corona crisis closed because they did not anticipate or prepare for the risks of mandatory store closures, and they did not learn how to seize the opportunities of the virtual world. SWOT analysis emphasizes the importance of knowing the risks and avoiding them early. For example, you may identify your position, and identify your destination and your method of movement, and know your strengths and weaknesses, and know the opportunities available to you in your present, and prepare everything and take short steps and implement them skillfully, and then suddenly there is no success. You discover that your strategic plan is futile. You discover that there is no company after 5 years that wants to hire engineers, for example. The profession of engineering ended 5 years after your plan, for example, and was replaced by new applications of artificial intelligence. You did everything. You completed university, built relationships, attended courses, but you did not consider the risk of not being needed in the future. In summary, an effective strategic plan requires anticipating and reading the future 5 to 10 years from now. Do you know what opportunities will be available 5 to 10 years from now? What jobs will be in demand then? And what jobs will disappear? In your previous situation, you didn't foresee the future well from the start, so you appeared to be fighting a losing battle in the wrong field. Your military maneuver and strategic plan were in vain, and the war you waged was a war of attrition that depleted your resources and strengths without returns. It was a zero-sum game you entered into without calculating its consequences. The question, how do I read and anticipate the future well? Are there analyses for future forecasting, like SWOT analysis, for example? Here, the second most important analysis in writing an effective strategic plan appears, which is pestle analysis. The word pestle stands for political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors. These 6 factors should be considered while writing your strategic plan as they lead to future shifts. Ask yourself while preparing your plan, do you consider political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal changes? The future changes based on these factors. In light of the above, the most important factor to consider while preparing your strategic plan is to think about political changes 5 to 10 years from now. Ask yourself, what will happen at the political scale in 5 to 10 years? Will there be a war between China and USA, for example? Why then decide to move and live in these countries? It's a risk. Why not work in the field of construction, as buildings may be destroyed during wars, creating a need for building engineers? It's an opportunity. Why keep my company in America when the balance of power will favor China in the future? Staying in America is a risk. Why not invest my money in stocks of weapons manufacturing companies? It's an opportunity. The question, can you read the political scene well 5 to 10 years from now? Mastering reading the political scene 5 to 10 years from now can easily be done through reading and closely following the forecasts of political analysts in newspapers, for example. The second task in preparing a strategic plan is about reading economic developments. Ask yourself, will there be economic growth 5 to 10 years from now? Or will there be a general economic recession? For example, should I invest in cafes, Or will the market be saturated with cafes in 5 years? It's a risk. And since economic recession and high living costs are expected, why not invest in small $1 shops now to attract people to them in 5 years? It's an opportunity. Also, to write a good strategic plan, consider social changes. Ask yourself, how will people be 5 to 10 years from now? I expect that the percentage of single individuals will surpass the percentage of married ones. So why not build a building for renting apartments with small rooms rather than large rooms, since the number of single individuals will be more than the number of married ones? It's an opportunity. I anticipate that people will suffer from depression and psychological disorders due to the changes of the modern day. So why not specialize in psychiatry, since there will be a need for psychiatric clinics? It's a second opportunity. I anticipate a social shift that will make people love cats and dogs more due to depression and singlehood. So why not specialize in veterinary medicine? It's a third opportunity. Similarly, to write an effective strategic plan, consider technological revolutions. What do you expect to happen technologically 5 to 10 years from now? Will your goal align with these challenges? For example, do you plan to be a teacher? It's a risk, as technology might change the face of education to become virtual, reducing the need for teachers. Do you want to be a programmer? It's an opportunity, as artificial intelligence applications become more valuable over the years. But what if the internet and virtual life are eliminated by a technological virus, as real life was affected by the coronavirus? It's an opportunity and a risk at the same time. Internet outage could be an opportunity for those who can plan for such crises. Also, while writing your effective strategic plan, consider environmental challenges. That is, consider what will happen environmentally 5 to 10 years from now. For example, ask yourself, is there a job offer in a cold city? Then choose that offer as it's an opportunity. Global warming is expected to raise temperatures in hot cities, making people migrate to cold ones. Do you plan to build a wooden house? What if there are more hurricanes in your area in 5 to 10 years? It's a risk you didn't calculate. Let's now contemplate earthquakes. Everyone who planned strategically and chose to live on the top floor would be always rescued faster than those who chose to live on the ground floor. Do you read the environmentalists' analyses? Finally, be aware of the legal regulations that may be issued 5 to 10 years from now. Perhaps you plan to use your connections 5 to 10 years from now. It's a risk because strict and harsh laws might eliminate nepotism. Are there products currently legally prohibited from sale? It's an opportunity to include them in your strategic plan, as they may become legally permissible 5 to 10 years from now. Additionally, legal and technological litigations are expected to increase in the future. It's an opportunity to become a lawyer specializing in technology cases. In short, the success of your plan depends on considering the political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal changes that may suddenly occur 5 to 10 years from now. In addition to SWOT and PESTLE analyses, Michael Porter's 5 forces analysis comes as the third most important analysis in strategic planning. The 5 forces are new entrants into the market, substitutes for your product, bargaining power of your customers, bargaining power of suppliers, and industry rivalry. Although this analysis is specific to companies, it can be extended to individuals. You should consider, while outlining your plan that aims to make you a specialist, new entrants, the newcomers in your field as they may outperform you, substitutes for your product, how to update your old information as it may be replaced by newer information, your customer power, review the demand for your services, suppliers, the strength of companies attracting you and others, and rivalry in general. Explore the chances of your competition with others. After conducting SWOT, PESTLE, 5 forces, comes VREO analysis as the fourth most important analysis in developing an effective strategic plan. It claims that your company will profit if it has value, rarity, imitability, and organization, forming the word VREO. Although this analysis is specific to companies, it can be extended to individuals. When creating your strategic plan, you should consider a plan that makes you 1. Valuable, so your value as a specialist doesn't diminish over time, and 2. Rare, so your skills aren't readily available to everyone, and 3. Non-imitable, meaning you're unique and no one can replace you, and 4. Organized, not random, in progress, and without a clear plan. Lastly, we conclude with SOSTAC analysis, the fifth analysis in the strategic planning process. We placed it last because it summarizes all the previous steps. The word SOSTAC stands for 6 steps in writing a strategic plan. 1. Define your situation, resources, and overall situation. Then, 2. Define your direction and objectives. Then, 3. Define your maneuvers and strategies. Then, 4. Define your tactics in case of political changes, etc. Then, 5. Define your initiatives and actions. Then, 6. Control the plan. This is precisely a summary of SOSTAC analysis. After applying all the aforementioned analyses, SWOT, PESTLE, 5 forces, VREO, and SOSTAC, the task of measuring the success of the strategic plan and its outcomes comes. This can be done by establishing key performance indicators, KPIs, without which you won't know if you're progressing or stagnant. Ask yourself, what indicators confirm that you're approaching the destination you set? For example, with VREO criteria, ask, what indicators do you set for yourself to confirm that you're valuable, rare, non-imitable, and organized? What indicator signifies your value? Is it your salary? Then salary is an indicator. Is it your position in your company? Then position is an indicator, and so on. We have reached the concluding part of the strategic planning course. We have learned a lot in this course, and the most important thing we learned is to view life as an existential battle. So we determine our position and direction, fully aware of our resources through strengths and weaknesses, risks and opportunities, SWOT analysis. Then we move, sensing future crises. One way to sense future crises is by reading the predictions put forth by experts in politics, economics, society, technology, environment, and law, PESTLE analysis. Then, we think about ways to make ourselves valuable, rare, organized, and non-imitable, VREO analysis, paying attention to the general competition, 5 forces analysis, and the general situation, SOSTAC analysis. This training course, Strategic Planning, is taken from the book Training Courses by Muteb Alqarni.